Welcome everybody. Warm greetings from LBN People's Podium for the 27th Ask the Expert session, powered by All Ladies League, Seven Sisters and LBN Tech Solutions. A little bit about what is the Seven Sisters. Seven Sisters is a project of global solidarity by All Ladies League, which is a global organization for expanding the vibe and tribe of sisterhood and empowering collective action. The Seven Sisters project is inspired by the festival of Shakti Bandhan, initiated by All Ladies League to connect women worldwide in the spirit of sisters beyond borders. The first Seven Sisters in India were nominated at a ceremony on 18th August 2022 in Chennai. And the Seven Sisters are from across India. And they are Pramila Rajkumar, Shika Sharma, Dr. Rajshri Krishnaswamy, Mansi Mahajan, Priya Vishwanath, Dr. Deepa Senthil, and me, Meghalaya Senthil Kumar. We have all taken a pledge to carry the torch of sisterhood, Shakti Bandhan, solidarity, strength, support, and service to society. So welcome all of you. Some of the Seven Sisters are here. A warm welcome to all of you. A warm welcome to all the participants across the globe who have tuned in for today. Welcome all of you. And my gratitude to our Chief Soul Sister, founder and global chairperson, All Ladies League, Dr. Harbeen Arora, for all her noble efforts to bring us all together for a greater purpose in life. And today's topic is air to breath, knowing the nuances of prana, the life force. And the expert speaker is Lakshmy Shankar, founder and CEO of Kaizen Consult. And we have Dr. Deepa Senthil, one of the Seven Sisters, who will give a small intro about Lakshmy Shankar. Dr. Deepa is a ENT surgeon from Ramana ENT Care Center in Chennai, and a very warm person, ready to help people in society. So glad to have you here, Deepa, to introduce our expert speaker. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Meghalaya. I'm delighted to introduce Mrs. Lakshmy Shankar. She's an Indian entrepreneur and psychologist, business strategist, culture biographer, diversity and inclusion coach with over 25 years of work experience, both in India and in the Middle East. She is the founder and CEO of Kaizen Consult, a business consulting and trading firm. She is the global chairperson, business networking for G100, All Ladies League, national president, Women's Chamber of Commerce and Industry, WICCI, Diversity and Inclusion. Lakshmi is a chakra meditation and healing practitioner and trainer. She is a culinary biographer and a traveler with a purpose, specialized in cross majors, and she holds a master's degree in psychology and sociology from the University of Madras and bachelor's degree in economics from the University of Mumbai. Thank you so much, Lakshmi, for being with us today and sharing your knowledge.
Thank you so much.
Deepa. Thank you, Deepa. Thanks for the lovely introduction. And Lakshmi, before the floor is handed over to you, little note to all the participants: the questions can be, typed onto the chat box as and when the session is going on, and we can address the questions one by one after Lakshmi finishes her talk. Right? Anything else, Lakshmi, you want to add to that?
No, actually, we will play it by the year, I would say.
Okay, you can make it
even make it a conversation if sure. That works for everybody. Otherwise, I mean, I go by the rule book of LBN.
There is no rule book as such. It's the floor is all yours. You can. We are all waiting. We are all waiting to hear from you. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Meghalaya Senthil Kumar, and LBN Technology, and Seven Sisters, an initiative of All Ladies League, to have put together this program and invite me for doing the first inaugural session for our lovely ladies and gentlemen who are here today. I just saw Dr. Rajshri log in. Hi, Raj. So good to see you. And to me, honestly, I'm so completely at ease looking at all my friends from all over the country, I would say, at this point of time. I have my very, very dear schoolmate, college mate, Flavia, who's come in from Goa, and all my other friends from across the country. Thank you so much. And there are a lot of people whom I don't know, and I think going to make good friends with all of you today. So end of the day, thank you so much for all of you to give me this opportunity to actually share something which I'm very, very passionate about knowing. See, one has been through various yoga classes and many kinds of, some kind of healing training programs and other things. And in every yoga class that I attended in every city I've lived, I would go for about a month and then never kind of continued with it. So I'm not a big yoga person, but I do the asanas which are essential. But during the course of this journey, being inquisitive mind that I have, thanks to my parents and the genetic memory, I used to wonder, when the minute you enter a yoga class, they'll say, okay, take a deep breath. Then immediately, they start doing ABCD jumps and push-ups and warm-ups and then the asanas. Somewhere this triggered me to understand what is it actually, to take a deep breath. I just did not know what it is to breathe, how to breathe, and what it does to us when we do proper breathing. So that's where a bit of reading, and thanks to technology, that we have so much of information today. Fortunately, even WhatsApp universities have good sharing of information, and we have amazing knowledge-aware aggregators across the internet, from where we can pick up extremely good, interesting knowledge. And I found my virtual gurus through technology, and thanks to technology for this. So when we formed the Seven Sisters, and Meghalai took the initiative of creating something, a flow, a process, where we keep the fire of the Seven Sisters, burning, and at the same time contributing towards our societies. And I, in fact, volunteered, and I told Meghu that, hey, let me do the first session. Air to breath, the concept of air to breath, actually, it came to me when I was reading a book called The Breath to Air. It's a very, very lovely book written by a doctor who lived in SFO, and he died of cancer. So he was talking about from breath to air. It was actually the reverse of what one is going to share with you all today. It's more than a talk. Let's make it into a conversation if everybody is okay with it. And I'm sure all of you are people who are into various kinds of yoga practices, professionals, and also I see a lot of people coming from South India, where there's so much of literature written, on all these things. It's such an ancient culture. So I know I'm not talking to rookies or young kids, and I know I'm talking to people who are extremely well qualified on this subject. Initially, I thought probably that would make me nervous, but then I realized, no, I'm not going to be nervous, because mine is not going to be a very technical kind of a talk. But we thought, let's hack pranayama together, or prana, the life energy, together. Hacking is so easy, like we kind of, let's take the route of yoga philosophy. And in the yoga philosophy, it's very different from the current medical or healthcare. We are not in that zone at all. We're into a completely different ancient Indic wisdom. When I say Indic, it doesn't get restricted just to the boundaries of today's political India. It goes beyond that. It's an Eastern culture. It's an Indic culture, where the entire Indian Ocean rim to the whole landmass of Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Maldives, Burma, Southeast Asia, the whole thing gets included in this. So it's been here. And parts of China also. Chinese are extremely good in their energy, manipulation, whether it's their war techniques, or whether it's their everyday living, whether it's a Tai Chi or anything that you mentioned, they are into harnessing and manipulating energy for the betterment of their health. And so therefore, let's do a little bit of hacking of this, the topic that we are going to talk about, from air to breath. Now, we all are living in this planet. We are all the entities or the beings of this planet Earth. We cannot live rather in any of the other planets or outside the atmospheric layers of this planet Earth. Why is it so? Practically, we are part of Earth because we are connected electromagnetically to Earth's gravity. That's what keeps us in place. If this electromagnetic connect is not there, we'll be flying into the atmosphere, beyond the atmosphere, and we'll be like the Trishanku, in between, nowhere. So basically, we are, thanks to Mother Earth, we are her beings, we are her children, and we are connected through the electromagnetism. But apart from electromagnetic connection to the landmass, to Mother Earth, we are able to sustain our lives. We are alive, kicking, energetic because of one more thing, because of the air pocket which is surrounding us, which is composed not just oxygen, it's composed of so many gases and entities and particles and subatomic particles. All these things goes into forming what is known as prana, or the life force, the life energy. And sun plays a very important role in this. The sunlight, the cosmos, and Mother Earth forms the three biggest sources of creating the pranic energy around us. Now, there is pranic energy around us, and there is pranic energy within us, so which we simply call as prana. Now, how does this air to you and me? We just feel the air, and for us it is air. How does it take the avatar of prana? How does it become prana? Through a simple process that all of us know as breathing. So we are all continuously breathing. It's an involuntary action of the body. We breathe cyclically till we die. The minute we die, the breath is out of the system. Apart from the breath, there are many things which gets out of the system. Now, talking about air to breath, it's an amazing process of flow. It's a process of movement. So basically what happens is we pull the air. It's a pulling action. When we pull, it's a verb, it's an action. When we pull the air gets into our system through the nostrils, goes into the chest cavity, the lungs, and that's not it. Beyond that, there are many, many things that happens with that breath. Breath is only a vehicle. Basically, what's happening is we're drawing the pranic energy from the atmosphere, from the food we eat, from the liquids we drink, and from the sunlight. This comes along with the breath. Breath is a carrier, it's like a vehicle. It takes this pranic energy to different parts of our body. So when we say prana, it's not just oxygen, which goes and fills our lungs and enables respiration, which is basically the process of inhalation, taking in air, and exhalation, breathing it out. Lovely process it is, honestly. It's not as simple as that. In that inhalation and exhalation, multiple things happen within our beautiful gross body. When I say gross body, it's a body that is perceivable to our eyes, all the other sensory organs. What we know as the body, what we mistake as we are actually different from our body. We are our prana, actually. So in this universe, in this huge pranic layer that we are all part of, each of us draw our prana into the system. And the minute the prana leaves out of the system, then it becomes from breath to air. Now it is life. We're talking the beautiful process of life. It's air to breath. Now, when the prana comes in, it doesn't function just in one manner. It's like, now let's just assume that we are all in an organization. We are now getting into a very, very large, let's say, an IT company. Now, many people enter the IT company, into the offices, but everybody, they don't go and sit in the same spot, same space, same office. People get distributed according to their functions, their roles. They move into, finance moves into its office, then you have the tech team moves into another office, the marketing moves into another office, the CEO moves into his zone or her zone. Similarly, the prana, the pranic vayu, when it comes into the system, it gets absorbed and it moves in 5 ways. It moves as 5 different pranic vayu. It's basically wind. Basically, the whole thing is air and wind energy. Therefore, wind is called vayu in Sanskrit. So all these things come with the suffix of vayu. Prana vayu basically comes in and gets distributed into 5 different body parts in 5 different movements. It moves in 5 different ways. So first, let me tell you, there are 5 different kinds of pranavayus. The first one being pranavayu itself, prana, which is the lung and the chest cavity and the heart focused centric pranic energy. And then you have, it gets converted through breath. It moves into the stomach zone. And in the stomach, from the stomach up to the pelvic area, it functions in a different way. And it's called the Samana Vayu. And then you have something called, the third one is called the Apana Vayu. Apana Vayu is basically, it starts from your pelvic zone and to the up to the toes. It's basically a downward flowing energy. And then we have something called the Uranavayo. That's the fourth one. The Uranavayo is that air or that wind energy or that pranic energy which moves from your throat up to the head, this region. And then finally, we have something very interesting, a diffused energy of Pranavayu called Vyanavayu. This Vyanavayu is very diffused and it flows all over the body. It's all over the body and outside the body also in the auric layers. Now, each of these, the prana and each of these vayus, their movement is defined basically by the function that they perform. Now, for example, the prana, the breath we take in, when we breathe in, it is moving inwards. It moves in and then we exhale, which is upwards. It comes upward from the diaphragm. It moves upward. So the movement of this wave is basic. This vayu is inwards and upward movement. And then when we look at apana vayu is a movement downwards. And then vyana vayu, that's all over. It moves all over, up and down and sides. Samana vayu, which is centered around your stomach, it moves in a spiral and left, right, left movement. How does the stomach digest its food? Through, imagine a washing machine. It just moves in circular motion, all over, left to right, right to left. That's how the Samana Vayu moves in our stomach. And then the Udana Vayu, it moves right upwards. It's an upward movement. It goes from here to the head. Now, this is the movement of these pranas. How does it move? It doesn't move through the inter and intracellular space, or there's no vacuum inside our body for anything to move. So these are all energy particles which moves through subtle bodies. The subtle body is very different from our gross body. So these things move by virtue of something called Nadis. There are 72,000 Nadis. Nadis are basically, how to put it, they're conduits, They're basically conduits or channels or canals in which energy cycles move, energy particles move. So through those 72 nadis, all these 5 types of vayus move to different parts of the body and they perform different functions. Now, there are ways and means of balancing out all these vayus. So first and foremost, it's very important to pay attention to the way we breathe. That's the solution for all our problems in this life. Be it a relationship issue, it's a conflict at work issue, be it a issue like what we just had, the COVID issue, or anything, you name it. It can be solved through attention to breath. When we start breathing, our consciousness actually, it expands. When the consciousness expands, our creative thinking, our logical thinking, everything, it's at a different plane of functioning. It's so amazingly at its optimal levels. It helps us to sort issues, to solve the problems. It makes life far more fulfilling and holistic. Now, how do we, what is actually, most of us, I can take the liberty of taking all of us together. The problem is we don't breathe too well. We don't know the art of breathing. It's actually the art and science of breathing. Some of us probably are good at it through practice, but most of us, we actually don't breathe properly. The reason being, we do not pay attention to our breath. It's become so mechanical that our mind is on so many other multiple things that we have stopped looking at the way we breathe. That is so important. That is us. That prana is us. But we don't give importance to the prana. We are more into our physicalities, our external, our work functions, our family ties, various other responsibilities. If we can spend at least 5 to 6 minutes a day to just for our sake, for us, so that life becomes more holistic and we are a much better professional, a much better wife, a much better husband, daughter, whatever we are. We can do that. And it's very important that we need to invest that little time into our breathing. Now, can I take a minute off, or less than a minute, or 30 seconds, for us to just close our eyes, pay attention to the breathing, pay attention to what you're going to breathe in and to breathe out. Just 30 seconds, do about a couple of breaths. Can we start now? Meghu, I need your go ahead to this. Hello? Any volunteers? Deepa?
Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Okay, because I'm not too sure if everybody is around. Okay.
Yes, Lakshmi, we're all here. Go
Thank
ahead,
you.
yeah.
Can we close our eyes? Pay attention to your breathing. Breathe in, stay, breathe out. Breathe in, stay, breathe out. When we do this initially, maybe for a couple of minutes, and a week after that, probably for 3 to 4 minutes, if you continue this, 7 to 8 minutes of mindful breathing, that's what it is. Actually, that is the state of meditation. It's not very difficult to get into meditate. When we are in meditative state, all the pranas that's flowing through our body is in balance. When it is in balance, its functions are being performed to the nth degree of perfection. It is so perfect that it keeps our body, mind, and soul very, very comfortably off. Now we come back to, there are ways and means. See, for most of us, there is some pranavayu which may not be at its optimal level of functioning, but there are ways and means of correcting them. The first method is mindful breathing. You would have noticed when you were breathing in and slowly breathing out, slowly breathing in and slowly breathing out, there was a certain expansion that you felt, because our consciousness is spread all over us. It's not just within the body, it's many inches and feet away from the body also. So when we are conscious of not only within what's happening within us, we are also conscious and aware of what's around us. So that consciousness is very, very important in a proper coexistence and coping mechanism for our sustenance and great survival on this planet Earth. And it also makes your mind very calm, and it's healthy. You will be able to reach the self-actualization. If you look at Maslow's pyramid, the food needs, the security needs, and all other needs taken care of, ultimately the role of every person, every human being is a certain kind of self-realization. That's the purpose of life. For some, it happens very comfortably, for some through exercises, for some through experience. So that is what a good mindful breathing leads us to through our expanded consciousness. When we expand, we are inclusive in this wide diversity. We become inclusively diverse. And that takes us across to our point of self-realization. For some, it's nirvana, some call it moksha, some call it kaivalya, whatever it is. It's a great place to be in. We are fully satisfied. It's not nirvana like what the Buddhas and those people have achieved. It's just a sense of well-being, a sense of happiness in our existence with all the challenges of life thrown in. Now, coming back to now we've all, I think, let's assume that we have understood what is mindful breathing. And from today, we are going to invest 30 seconds to 60 seconds in ourselves doing the mindful breathing. When I'm saying this to you all, I'm actually endorsing it for myself also. So we move into that. When we move into that, what's going to really happen is the pranavayu, the first from the Mahapranas, this is one of the first one, the pranavayu, which is existing, the place where it exists in our physical body is from the diaphragm to the throat region. Now, this fills our lungs with immense, abundant oxygen. So it takes care of the circulation, the cardiovascular part of the heart. It keeps our heart in place. It's also, it enhances empathy and feelings. When this Vayu is in tune, it's in the optimum flow, it actually nourishes our heart, it nourishes our lungs. So by this, what happens is we can actually overcome respiratory diseases, asthma. There are very kind bronchitis, including the flu that we confronted in the last couple of years, the last 3 years. The COVID, where lungs were the first ones to be affected during the first COVID attack. So this actually, the right breathing, the right prana, the right pranic vayu will take care of all these things. It also is very, very, when it's in the right flow, it ultimately everything is to do with the heart, Everything in our life is to do with the heart, because we feel from the heart. What we feel is what we are. Like what we eat is what we are. What we feel is what we are. So when there is a feeling of inadequacy, jealousy, extreme competitiveness, extreme, lack of confidence, lack of self-worth, that's not going to do us any good. So when we are confronted with any of these situations, it's very simple, the solution. We don't need to go for any kind of medication. The first shot, the first trial, the first thing one can actually do is contain our breathing properly, the pranavayu properly. For this, there are mudras. Mudras are using the 10 fingers of our hands in a particular way where we exert certain type of pressure, which actually enables in sorting out the flow of the prana in our body. I will be touching upon mudras, and also there are asanas. There are so many asanas for each of the pranavayu. They go together. Since I'm not educated to teach about the yoga, probably one of our speakers, maybe one of our yoga experts in our team, probably Meghu might invite her for the next session, so that there's some kind of a continuity of what we are doing just now. So there are very many asanas for sorting the pranavayu, how to set it right. Today we are going to do about the mudras. Now this is the pranavayu for you. Health of the lungs, health of your heart, and sensory motor activities, and thinking and feeling. Is empathy, how to instill that kind of a feeling in us. The minute we have that empathy in us, that great well-being in us, feeling for people, the plants, the animals, the entire biosphere, we are in a different level of health, which is called the well-being. This is pranavayu for you. We then move to the samanavayu. Can anybody tell you where does the samanavayu, which part of the body does it get into? The samanavayu? I can't hear.
The belly.
The belly, absolutely. There is also a very well-known, very ancient saying that fire in your belly. So this samana vayu is actually that vayu, that energy which instills, it kindles fire in the stomach. That fire is extremely essential for the digestion of the food. The samana vayu moves like a washing machine. Left to right spiral, left to right spiral. By this, what it does, it helps the digestion of the food. It helps assimilation of the food. Assimilation of the food, the oxygen, the liquids. So it creates that mass which can be easily absorbed by the body. Samana vayu is also responsible for absorption of your food through all your intestines. The small intestine, I guess, a doctor here can correct me if I'm wrong. The small intestine has got something called cilia, a little hair-like thing, which actually the gut, that's where the absorption of the food takes place. Any issue with the samana vayu, it can cause constipation if it's too much, if it's too less, or when it's too much, it can cause loosies or the leaky gut or any of those issues. Now, samana vayu is the way, when we said there is fire in your belly, what is that in normal parlance? We are not talking about the agni in the belly. When we say fire in the belly, it's more an allegory. It's that need to achieve, that sense of I need to do this, I need to achieve. It gives, samana vayu gives us that sense and determination to achieve things in life. So that's very, very essential for our existence. And by the food, by the digestion, by the assimilation, by the absorption, at the physical level, at the emotional and mental level, what the samana vayu actually does is, it enables the mind, the manasa, to form imprints. The good experience is stored, as the good imprint and not so good imprint. But when the samana vayu is doing a great flow, when it's in its optimal flow, what it actually does at the mental level is it kind of dissipates the negative energies or the negative imprints, and it kind of strengthens the memory, which is more solid, more happy, more peaceful, because it's very important for us to carry the right kind of memory with us. When we die, it's the body which goes, but not the memory. The memory is stored in the soul. That's again another energy which rests right below the heart. And the prana is its companion, and soul is the silent experiencer. So the imprints are constantly, it's being formed. Everyday life, subconsciously, consciously, unconsciously, we form imprints. This samana vayu of the pranic energy is what forms this imprints. When the samana vayu is not in its right flow, when probably it is kind of slow in its flow, and quantity of the prana is also less, the negative imprints, it gets imprinted very, very fast, and it gets endorsed, and it gets embedded very, very strongly, like embedding a software, in the system. And the mind is not just in the head, the mind is all over the body, it's all over the consciousness. Therefore, how do we correct it? There are various exercises. First is mudras, and then asanas, by which we can realign the samana vayu, whether it's more or whether it's less. We can realign it and bring it to some kind of a normalcy and balance. And then the imprints that keeps happening in our mind, in our soul, in our the pranic layer of our body, it becomes better and better. So actually we leave this world in a much better state, without any kind of negative energies, revenge, or whatever it is, all kinds of negative imprint. So it's very, very vital that we keep our flow of samana vayu intact, in the right kind of a flow. Now, after this, we come to something called the apana vayu. We discussed 5 vayus. Now we are talking about the apana vayu. Now, apana vayu's function is just the opposite of prana vayu. Prana vayu is an inward and upward motion, whereas the apana vayu, it moves downwards, completely downwards. Its center is kind of located within the physical body, somewhere around the cervix. From there it functions. Now, this apana vayu is such a vital energy. Without that, again, we wouldn't have survived. It is responsible for all our excretory activities. Excretion, excretion, urination, menstruation, ejaculation, and many other things. Any movement, birthing, childbirth, any moment which is towards the gravity, which is a downward moment, is possible because of the flow of apana vayu within our body system. Now, it's the most important vayu as far as the its function is concerned. Just imagine 2 days of being constipated, how difficult life can get for us. It happens again when the apana vayu is not in its right flow. There are various exercises, mudras, again to reset all these this particular vayu too. Now, this apana vayu, apart from doing all these things, it's at the mental level, it's extremely, it functions very strongly in the creative activities of the human mind and the body. It enhances, when it's in right flow, it enhances great level of creativity. Procreation is again, it's a level of creativity. Conception happens when there is a balance of the apana vayu. Deliveries, birthing happens when the apana vayu again has got 2 types of vayus. One is to hold the fetus together. See, otherwise it will be falling down, because gravity is to pull anything downwards. So what keeps a fetus inside a mother's womb? It's that apana vayu, that vayu which holds it together. After 9 months and 9 days, technically, it could be before, it could be after in some cases, that fetus needs to come out. So you need a different kind of energy, vayu, to bring it down. That's again part of the function of the apana vayu. It helps in the child birth. Similarly, since reproduction per se itself is a creative act, it is responsible for various mental level creativities, like artistic bent of mind is created by the right kind of flow of the Apana Vayu. Now, this is Apana Vayu for you. Prana Vayu, inward, outward movement. Apana Vayu, inward is everything. It comes with the prana, the first breath. Apana Vayu, it is downward movement, responsible for all those activities of the downward moving metabolic activities, other processes of the body. So you can imagine what are all the downward moving activities, and you can actually decide, I have this issue, this is what I've got to do, and everything can be corrected with the right kind of breathing, mindful breathing. And we now move to the fourth Vayu, which is called the Uranavayo. Now, this Uranavayo, Udan in Sanskrit means to fly. In Hindi also it means to fly. Udan. Now, Uranavayo is resting. It moves actually upwards. Prana has come in. Now, when prana takes the form of the Uranavayo, it moves from your throat region to the head, top of your head. Therefore, it functions completely from here, basically your throat. What is the throat? The most important thing is the thyroid and the parathyroid gland and the tonsils, which is part of the immune system. Now, the Uranavayu is responsible for the health of your thyroid gland. It is also responsible for certain areas of the brain center where the pituitary gland is located. Uranavayu actually enables the pituitary gland to function at its optimum level. It is the master gland, and it's responsible for your entire metabolism. And pituitary gland helps your thyroid gland to secrete all those chemicals, those secretions, those hormones, which helps us, metabolize our food and for existence. Now, that is the work of the Udana Vayu, or the pranic energy of the Udana Vayu. Now, it's also responsible for a huge process that happens in our head through various activities of the brain, the wiring of the brain to the synapses and the whole work that happens inside the brain, which is called the thinking process, the thoughts, the self, the sense of being. The whole thing is generated by the Udana Vayu. Udana Vayu is also, it helps us very largely in the process of self-realization, or getting that bit of the spiritual connect for ourselves. Every human being, every life actually is connected to does have a spiritual connect, because we are connected through this spiritual connect through the source. There is a source and we are part of that source, and there is a constant need for us to connect with the source. That's one of the major functions of the Udana Vayu. It moves. It actually works with all our anti-gravity muscles, because it's upward moving activity. It's an upward moving energy. It's just the opposite of Apana Vayu. Any kind of a disruption of this Vayu, Udana Vayu, it's going to really create problems with the thyroid gland, with a lot of mental illnesses where our realities change. For example, if we look at people who suffer from various mental illnesses, there are multiple mental illnesses in today's medical sciences, whether it's schizophrenia or a bipolar disorder or the works, hysteria, you name it. I mean, it's the never-ending names we are getting by the day. This Udana Vayu, actually, a disruption in the Udana Vayu does create disruptions in the brain chemicals and does create problems in the thinking, a reality of a schizoid person and the reality of a normal person is very, very different. So sometimes due to this disruption in the head, in the mind, in the brain, people start hearing voices which actually the human mind and the human system cannot receive. We are designed in a manner where we can cope with this life on this planet. So we can hear only a certain limited vibrations, a certain amount of limited vibration, or we can see only a certain whatever you call it, focal, I don't know, I'm forgetting the words. We can see only a certain, what do you call it, Deepa? For the vision, what is it called for the vision? we can see only certain wavelengths of vision or a certain wavelength of, we can hear only certain wavelength of sound. Because here on this planet, there are so many sounds, so many lights, so many visuals, which the human brain cannot actually comprehend. We cannot process. So what we can process is what we are gifted with, what we have come with. So in a mind which is not normal, I'm saying not normal for lack of using any other word, which doesn't fall into the so-called normal, there are people who can hear voices. That voice may not exist for us, but it is true to them. It's true to their experience. In the yogic philosophy, to tame those minds, which is really going completely astray, they work on their Uranavayus. They are taught to do certain mudras every day. They're taught to eat a certain type of food, and they're taught to do certain yogasanas, and they're taught to sit with certain kind of music, with certain kind of vibration, which kind of sets these things in place. This is one of the most critical vayu for us, because even when a person dies, how the Udana vayu leaves the body is also very, very critical to understand how the soul or the being is going to stay on post leaving one's the current physical body. That's Udana vayu. And then we finally come to another very interesting vayu, the fifth vayu. It's called the Vyana vayu. The Vyana vayu, it's diffused energy, It's diffused because it's all over the body. It moves from the tip of our toes to almost at the crown center. It moves still here because it is responsible for circulation. We need the fluids in our body circulates, the blood circulation, the circulation of the immune system. Basically, what's the immune system? The immune system is basically the lymphatic system, which is also a fluid system. So Vyana vayu actually helps in the circulation, maintaining the circulation intact, keeping it in the right kind of motion or the movement, so that the muscles are in place, its health is taken care of, the blood flows from the head to the toes, it remains at optimum level in the heart, the right amount, the right quantity of blood is circulated all over the place. So this Vyana vayu is all about the circulatory system. And Vyana vayu is one vayu which is it also governs a lot of movement of the other vayus, because it is interacting with all the other vayus. It moves, when it moves up a little bit, it comes in contact with Apana vayu. A little further, it comes in touch with the Samana vayu. A little more upwards at the heart level, it comes in touch with the Prana vayu. And it moves, when it moves towards the head, it comes in contact with the Udana vayu. So they're all in constant communication with each other, sorting out problems, and in sync, they move in a great synchrony within our body system for a healthy body. Now, coming to how do we set right the problems due to, because at a subconscious level, even when I say conscious, I don't mean the other conscious, I just mean the awareness that we all have. We are aware, we are awake. So, but we are not aware of how we breathe. So how we breathe is something, when we start working on it through mindful breathing, by just paying attention to our breath, then we actually follow the prana. We actually follow the breath as it moves into different locations of the body. The minute your awareness is around that, it sorts itself out. It gives you an awareness that this vayu is not okay. Then the mind starts churning, you become more and more aware. You start seeking help. You start reading books. You start understanding, hey, the problem is, I have a problem in my joint. So maybe, if I use the mudra to sort my Vyana vayu right, it might get okay. So it builds our awareness, our intuition, Intuition is beyond intelligence and beyond intellect. It's something which comes from the external energy. So all these things happen to us, or we become more and more aware when we start mindful breathing. Now, how can we do mindful breathing? Is that little breathing technique which we just experienced some time back, and also through mudras. I'm now just going to give you all 5 mudras for sorting all these things out. So let's just check on these 5 mudras. Meghu, do I have your permission to screen share?
Yeah, please, Lakshmi, go ahead.
Thank you. 1 second. Is my screen visible?
Yeah, it
It is
is visible.
visible. It is visible.
Okay, I'm just going to. I didn't use any of these presentation because I thought it's better to talk, than to see the screen. Okay. Now maybe we can all do this exercise on our own a little bit. Is my screen visible? Is it large enough for the fonts? Can you all see this?
I think it's fine.
It's fine. Okay.
Lakshmi, you
This
should
is
go on presentation mode, full screen.
1 second. I'm just wait.
Yeah, that bottom right.
Slideshow.
Yeah, slideshow.
Yeah. Has it? It's not yet gone full screen, no?
Yeah, it is gone now.
Okay. Great. So let's go. This is called the Prana Mudra. The first mudra, the first prana energy that we spoke about, that's the Prana Mudra. Now, 1 second. I need to go back. Megu, how do I go back, Megu?
Just
1 second. I'm just stopping this.
you have it slide-wise otherwise.
Yeah. No, I think I'll just go by this. Is it
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah.
So that slide-wise, it'll keep going, so it may not sync with what we have to say. Hello, everybody.
Yeah, we can see you, Lakshmi.
Yes. How do we do this mudra? It's made by touching the tips of the little finger and the ring finger with the thumb. Maybe you all can practice this a bit. We can do this. The remaining 2 fingers should be held straight. What are the benefits of this mudra? This mudra enables awakening of the prana shakti, lying very dormant, and the body becomes active, healthy, and energetic. It cures our eye problems and improves eyesight. It's an amazing thing for improving the eyesight. It enhances body's immunity to diseases, removes the deficiency of vitamins, and removes fatigue, as also rejuvenates the body. Now, due to this, there is no problem of hunger and thirst during long hours of fasting. So during fasting, if we do this, actually it satiates our hunger and thirst. Now, in case of insomnia, it provides benefits if done in conjunction with the Jnana Mudra. There's another mudra called the Jnana Mudra. So if it's done in conjunction with that, it actually helps people to sleep. This is the first mudra called the Prana Mudra. So Prana Mudra is your ring finger and your little finger, the tips of which should be touching the tip of the thumb, and the other 2 fingers should be held straight. We now move to the next mudra, which is Apana Mudra. Apana Mudra we just discussed, which is responsible for excretion, urination, and the whole work of downward movement. Yeah. For Apana Mudra, let's take the middle finger and the ring finger and touch it to the thumb, and the other 2 fingers spread across like this. I think most of you probably would know about it, and you'd have heard me talk about Apana Mudra. Take the tip of your thumb to the tips of your ring finger and the middle finger, and keep the other 2 fingers the way it's shown in the figure. This is, see this mudra. This is the Samana Mudra. Samana Mudra is to sort your stomach vayu, which is your little finger, the tip of your little finger. It's not the tip. It's, you keep your little finger down and you place your thumb on top of the second portion of the small finger. It has 3 portions, right? From the nail to the tip, the base. So place it on the second portion or the second part of the little finger. This is your Samana Mudra. Any stomach issues, please go ahead with this and you will see magic happening out there, in your stomach. And this is the Vyana Mudra. Sorry, this is the Udana Mudra. Uranamudra is all about our mind. Uranamudra is all the three fingers with the thumb and the little finger on top. The little finger is held straight on. This is the Uranamudra. If there is anybody who or any family member with any kind of mental ailments, anything, whatever be the nomenclature, please ensure that you do this mudra, make the person do this mudra. They may resist, but it's worth sitting with them, trying this mudra. And I think when you start doing it every day, probably it may take some time, maybe 30 days, 40 days, 90 days. There will be a difference. When there is a difference, when some kind of a semblance comes into the system, into thinking, the person or the patient themselves will understand the importance, and it'll make life easier for them. Sometimes it may even cure them completely. We then move to the Vyana Mudra. Vyana Mudra is the thumb, the index finger and the ring finger and the middle finger touching each other, not the tip. It's just touching the thumb the first part of the thumb. And the other two fingers held straight. Try to hold it straight. It always happens that the ring finger may not be straight. It may be a little in curve. It may be at about 45-degree angle to the little finger, but with practice, it will become straight. This is your Vyana Mudra, which is responsible for everything and anything in the body with its diffused, beautiful energy. That's what happens to us, It balances out so many other pranic waves in the body, pranic energies in the body. Now, these are the mudras, and these are the mudras which actually helps us to sort our pranic or the vayu problems in the stomach, in the system. These same mudras actually, can I just take a minute, Meghu, to talk about the breath to air? Just
yes,
one. It may not be
yes.
the most interesting thing to do, but we are talking life, but this is not about life. It's about something other than life. Basically, people, air has come in. It's become our breath. The prana comes in. It comes in through our breath. We are alive. All of us are alive, kicking, happy, the whole works. But when we die, it moves out. Prana. When we die, actually, what happens is, for some people, all the 5 pranas, it exits at the same time. They are those very lucky few people in this world. For most of us, what happens is, there are many around this. There are many yogic philosophies which gives different timing for different exiting of different pranas. Basically, what happens is, in some yogic, philosophies or some rishis or yoga experts, they say that samana vayu, the one which is lying in our stomach, that's the one which goes first. When that goes, what happens is body starts cooling, because that is what is responsible for keeping the fire in our system, due to which digestion and the whole work happens and we are alive. So this fire in our belly, or the fire in the stomach zone, abdomen to be precise, the fire leaves the body slowly. It takes some 15-20 minutes. That's precisely what some philosophers and experts are talking about. It could be more, it could be less for different people, depending on the way they led their lives. Now, once this starts cooling, just imagine people, air expands, and for air to expand, you need heat, So as the heat reduces, the air compresses. The prana, the pranic vayu, which was resting in our heart, in our lungs, to simplify it further, let's call it the oxygen. That air shrinks and shrinks and shrinks and shrinks. When the samana vayu is completely exited, this the prana which we know as life, that shrinks to such an extent, at some point of time, it will just exit our body through any of the pores available in the body. It may exit through apana vayu together, through the exteriors, or through the extremity, through excretory system, or through any other system which is below our abdomen. For a lot of people who have done a lot of yoga and built a higher level of consciousness, it exits through the eyes, the crown, the crown chakra, which is on top of the head, the ears, the nostrils, the mouth. So any pore that you see in the body, they are a point of taking in prana, and for the prana also to exit. And this prana exits along with the soul. It's a companion of the soul. Soul, being the silent observer, has taken all the imprints. For the soul to get out, the prana has to take it along with it. It's a companion of the soul in the yogic philosophies. Now, after these two exit, Apana Vayu also exits, and then the Uranavayo exits slowly. This can happen for Udana and the Vyana Vayu to exit. It can take many, many days. The first Samana and Prana may exit in 18 to 25 minutes to 48 minutes. Then few hours you have the Apana Vayu exit. But for the Vyana and the Udana Vayu to exit, it can take 10 days, 12 days, 14 days, or even more. That's why most of our the death rituals, it has a 13 days, 14 days, 16 days, and also months end, 30 days, in some of the religions. See, religion is, we are not talking religion as in religion, but when it comes to death, I think every religion has got certain rituals. And these rituals is to enable not us, people who are living, the ones who have gone, they have just gone, but some of their vayus, some of their energies are still existing outside the body. It's believed that some of them try to come in, through some of the pores in the body. That's one of the reasons why 1.5 to 4 hours is the window given for an ideal disposal of the body. What will be the method of disposal? You dispose the body through burning. I mean, cremation is the best form of disposal because you're not taking space on this earth. It's once it's gone, it's gone. But there are other forms of disposal of the dead bodies. There's burying the body, like in a lot of religious practices. So when you bury the body, it takes longer time for the decomposition to happen. It takes much, much longer for the decomposition. While it's being decomposed, there are certain energies which has left the body, which still remains, It remains because it's an energy. Energy can neither be destroyed nor created. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed is one of the very famous, laws of energy propounded by, I think, one of the top-notch physicists. The point is, yes, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. Therefore, those energies exist. They exist in different forms, different entities. So death rituals are primarily, it governs not to let them enter back into the system. There are people who practice tantric practices and other things where till the Udana Vayu is remaining in the body, they can try to bring life back into the body, the other Vayus. The moment the Udana Vayu, the one which circulates all over our system, that moves, that's when it's impossible. No practice, whether it's any kind of a practice, can bring back life into the body. And it's so important to know both sides of the pranic energy. It's so important we start respecting our own lives much better. We start respecting ourselves better. It's so important for us to love ourselves. When we love ourselves, we want to host a great pranic energy within our system. And we are better off taking care of our own families and the larger society, whether it's a corporate leader, a head honcho who can take care of his people, his staff, her staff, and teammates, and the whole works. So I personally think, I actually accidentally bumped upon this pranic energies, how to go about it. And I'm a student, a very, very young new student of understanding the pranic energies. And believe me, it has given me such immense energy packets within my system, and also tolerance. Like 15 years back, where I would have blown my top, I would have been immature and ill-behaved also in some extent, within the own family system, a simple thing, reactive to many things. But today I don't react. And not that I kind of sublimate my emotions, then it comes out as a dam being burst. It's just, one is just calm. Yeah, so what? this too shall pass, that kind of a scenario. That's what a mindful breathing gives to our system. That's actually the core of solving any problem, be it a corporate issue, be it anything, a relationship issue, health issue, even people who are suffering from terminal illnesses. It's very, very important to give a little bit of pranic exercises, mudras. A lot of people cannot be doing asanas. So mudras are very simple. You can do sitting down, you can do standing up, you can do while you're walking. So I guess it does help. Believe me, maybe I would like to meet all of you 6 months down the line, and let's actually, exchange notes on what mindful breathing has done to each of us. Maybe we could form a small research team. And
that would be lovely. That would be lovely, Lakshmi. Maybe a physical meeting.
A physical meeting, yeah. We can have a lot of great pranic food, and we can have a good time. Yeah, absolutely. And
there are some questions, Lakshmi. So can we go to the questions now? Because
yeah, sure. Yeah, this is an ocean. I just went extempo because I didn't want to refer to anything. I just wanted to share what I know about this so that it's more natural than rattling out a presentation.
I think it was mind-blowing. But before we go we have a special person who's going to conclude the session, Dr. Achari. But before that, we have several questions here. I think it will take some time to answer. So let's go over to the
I'll try to answer the questions where I'm comfortable answering. The questions which is not very comfortable to me, I will definitely try and
we'll
send
share
those answers.
Lakshmi's coordinates in the chat box. Veera, you can put it there. So people who want to connect with Lakshmi personally can do so also. Her coordinates, you can put it in the chat box, Veera. And the first question is, Nitya Murali has asked, she says, lovely session. How long should we hold these mudras to see the benefits?
Minimum 7 to 8 minutes. And certain mudras, you can go up to 20 minutes if you have the time. Some mudras, they say even 1 hour, but I think that's not practical. I think if you have the time, great.
Suppose I'm starting only today. Those 7 minutes are enough, or should I do it for 7 minutes per day for like 3-4 months?
I think there are 5 mudras you have to do. If you look at 7 to 8 minutes per mudra, it's 7 minutes means it's 7 into 5 is 35 minutes. You can do it actually. It's not 35 minutes is something which we can invest on ourselves. Or you can probably do each one at different point of time.
Okay.
See, if you're having some breathing issues at this point of time, I think you go for Prana Mudra, the first mudra which we just discussed. So if you're constipated and if you have urinary tract infection, go for the Apana Mudra. And do rest of the mudras later on, but spend a little more time on the mudra that is going to sort your current issue. But if you have no issues, then go one by one and do it 7 to 8 minutes at a time. If you can go longer, great. But I don't think you should do anything beyond 15-20 minutes,
Okay.
Yeah.
Then Jayanti Manoharan has asked, do we rest the hand on our thighs? I think she means when you do the mudra, can you rest your hands on the thighs?
I'm not very sure, but I guess we can.
Yeah.
I guess we can. We can rest it on a table. We can rest it on a... I don't think we should be doing it in the air because you'll have pain, isn't it? Your muscles and your...
Yeah.
So I will still get back to... who's this? Whose question was this?
That is Jayanti Manoharan.
Jayanti, I will 100% get back to you. But at this point of time, I can say with my personal experience, do rest it wherever you want to rest it, on your thighs, on the sofa handles, on a table. It's far more comfortable and easy to do that.
I think we have Mr. Chellappa here. Mr. Chellappa, he's quite knowledgeable in this. You have anything to add here to, clear Jayanti's question?
That would be wonderful.
Mr. Chellappa, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Yeah. See, normally when we do these mudras, see, we can have it also as like folding your hands, and then you can have it in that position. Or as Lakshmi said, we can have it on your thighs. That's the position which we normally do the mudras.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Then I think your friend Flavia, can a woman in family state practice pranayama? She has asked.
Can a
woman in a family state That is a woman in a practice pranayama. Yes.
Flavia, if I'm not mistaken, you're asking me if a pregnant woman can do pranayama?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, of course. Of course. In fact, for the apana vayu subdivides into two vayus. One is mudra, which is done when you're pregnant, to hold your fetus comfortably and healthy in your system. And during the contractions, when the labor is happening, there's another kind of another subsect of apana vayu, where there are certain mudras by which it helps the labor to be easy and comfortable. It helps in birthing, actually. And I would suggest that a pregnant woman consults a mudra practitioner, a yoga guru, actually, to check that they don't have any other issues. And they can absolutely do this. There are mudras for pregnant women and pregnant mothers. There are a lot of asanas and there are a lot of exercises also.
That's wonderful.
Thank you. But what about initial months also? It could be started in the initial months, in the second, third, fourth month.
See, I think it's absolutely good to start for the simple reason that it's all about your breathing, When you're doing your breathing comfortably, normally, everything is you're actually understanding prana and understanding the pranic movement within the body system and setting it right through mudras and exercises basically means you're making it more healthy. You're taking all the negativities out of the system. So for a pregnant mother, I think she needs to be really, really healthy. It's perfectly okay to do this. Having said that, I would also say that they should always do it under guidance, so that they don't do any mistake. They don't do the wrong kind of stretching, or, they don't do things in such a way where they slip and fall and make themselves vulnerable. So it's always good to take a trainer, a person who's really well versed in teaching these mudras and exercises.
Yes, thank you, Lakshmi ji.
My pleasure.
JS, you can go ahead with your question. You've raised your hand. So
thank you, madam. Thank you, Lakshmi. It's a very interesting presentation. New knowledge added. My question is, while drinking tea, coffee, or water, or eating, or while speaking also, we gulp air, right, which goes into the stomach. I'm asking whether is it a natural process or is it a mistake in the kind of breathing which we do?
This is a very interesting question. I think I'll also need Chelapa to come with me on this. Yes, we actually don't eat right. We don't drink right. It's also very important to do these things properly. They say, when I say they, the ancient yogic philosophers, that we are not supposed to stand and drink water. We are supposed to sit and drink water. And we are supposed to drink and sit water in such a manner where the water goes in. Along with that, probably there might be a bit of air going. That's what causes problems. It gets stuck in the stomach, in the chest. Sometimes people even have heart attacks, and you vomit. The peristalsis it gets reversed.
Simply even burping is a thing which happens after eating, drinking, or speaking, right?
Yeah, burping is again a natural process.
Okay.
It's a natural process, probably, where the air gets stuck between the stomach and the esophagus, and it has to come out, So it comes through the pranic thing rather than the apana. It just throws out when the carbon dioxide during the process of exhalation. But yes, as you mentioned, it's very, very important to eat the right way, to drink the right way. We are not supposed to stand and eat or drink, That's probably because the air may keep traveling and go up to the stomach and create issues of gastrics. And then apana has to work overtime to take it out of the system.
Right. Thank you.
So I think Sukanya's question is already answered. Want to know how long you should do the mudra and how many times. I think you've answered that, Lakshmi.
Yeah.
And there is a question, should the practice be done on an empty stomach?
Mudras, no. Mudras can be done anytime. You're not stretching your system. Samana Vayu is also working in the stomach. Okay. So there is, my mentor has taught me to do mudras anytime, whenever I find time, and it need not, unlike asanas, which has to be done on empty stomach, and to do yogasana, it's always preferable to do in the morning half.
Yeah.
Before sunrise, actually, but today we do it Because when people actually, they say when you do yogasana after 7 in the morning, after the sun is fully, a sunrise has happened, our cells become, the flexibility of the single unit body cell reduces, it becomes, it actually, it's like an elastic, it gets extended so much that there is a possibility of a stroke and other things. That's something which needs, probably we need to know better, but I don't do any yoga after sunrise.
Okay. Achha. Thank you, Lakshmi.
Yeah.
It's really nice enlightening us. But what I say about the pranayams.
Pranayams.
Like, pranayams, breathing exercises. What I want to know about empty stomach. Mudras, okay, fine.
Correct. Okay. Pranayam, of course, when you're talking of all those Kapalbhati and Anulom Vilom, these are all done only on empty stomach. Because you do a Kapalbhati with the stomach full, it's going to, they are pranayamas, that is the yama means it's the work. You're doing physical work. This is a physical activity. So these are part of the asanas, yogasana mein, pranayam also comes in, as you can do meditation on a full stomach, but you cannot do yamas, any kind of a pranayama or any kind of a work, physical work. Pranayama, when we do, whether it's Anulom Vilom or what is that, Bhastrika or this thing, Kapalbhati, it is intense work. So you can't do that on, it's not advisable to, you won't be able to do it properly on full stomach. There'll be a lot of discomfort around it, So it is part of those asanas. You do the asanas, then you do your pranayama, and including Surya Namaskar, which cannot be done on full stomach. Basically, Surya Namaskar, which is one of the master yogasana, you do that, you don't need to, it works with all the 5 pranas, and it is done in the morning. And basically, it used to be done the minute people used to go have a bath. They used to dip themselves in a pond or something, and it used to be slightly wet body, And then you do the Surya Namaskar. That wet body is actually to capture the vitamins from the sun and take it inside your system. It to enable the movement of some of the cosmic nutrient, to enter your system. That's your Surya. And Surya Namaskar is extremely good for the Vyana Vayu, which moves all over your body, So Surya Namaskar is wholesome. It's a complete asana.
Yes, thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, Amita has a question. Go ahead, Amita.
Yes, Megha. Lakshmi, thank you so much for all the information. I just have one small doubt.
Yeah.
Like, can we, the mudras you had shown, the different mudras, is it okay to do the mudras when we go for a walk, like while walking?
Actually, Amita, I do that while walking also. I have not read anywhere, or nobody has told me that you cannot do the mudras while walking. But if we kind of use a bit of our thinking and intelligence, I personally think maybe it's not right, to do it while walking. Maybe it's worth spending that 35 minutes sitting in a quite calm place and do the mudras. Then you're conscious of it. You are actually aware of the mudras you're doing. Close your eyes. When you close your eyes, you're blocking all the visual stimulations that's coming from outside. So you're more focusing on your inside, and you can actually kind of travel with the the waves, the pranic waves inside. Mudra is only helping it to sort it. It may probably change the direction from wrong to right direction. So if we sit down, close our eyes and do it, I think it'll be far more effective,
Okay.
It needs concentration. Yeah.
Right. Understand. Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Any other questions, or can I invite Dr. Achri now? Any more questions before that? Yeah. I think Dr. Achri Krishnaswamy. Yeah, I can see you now. Welcome to the session, and we are waiting for your closing comments, Dr. Achri. Dr. Achri is the founder and CEO of Catalyze Center, which has been into online education for decades and very successfully. She is one of our senior members of All Ladies League and one of the 7 sisters. And over to you, Raj. Please share your appreciative comments on this wonderfully mind-blowing session, which Lakshmi concluded.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for inviting me to give the closing remarks for a very, very dear and close friend, Lakshmi. And
thank you, Raj.
Lakshmi, what an amazing session. I think you summarized it so beautifully. I cannot even imagine you were so extempore, which means that you have understood and digested it and practiced it so much. And that came out so strongly. Very, very nice. I only have one, thing to add to whatever you said. The Nevedya mantras which say Pranaya Swaha, Panaya Swaha. It is all, linked to these, different pockets of air in our body.
Yeah.
And I would like to remember, my grandfather, who used to put hot rice and a little bit of ghee on it. And he used to recite these mantras and eat. The first 5 mantras he would recite and then eat it. And actually, this is a Nevedya mantra, which is not just for God, it is for the soul within as well.
Correct.
Okay. Because we are all a spark of the divine, right?
Yes.
So that is what our yogic philosophy has been built on, that each one of us has divinity within us. And this is what we must work towards, keeping it, holding it, enriching it, and harnessing it for our own health. Beautiful, beautiful session, Lakshmi. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much. And thanks to all the people who attended, made the time to attend the session. Wonderful session. Thank you.
Thank you, Raj. Thank you, Meghu. You're muted.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Raj, for making the time to give your appreciative comments. It was a wonderful thought which you gave us. And Lakshmi, it is actually a continuation of last month's session, sort of, because Ms. Uma Maheshwari dealt about mudras, and you also dealt about that. So, and lots of other things also. It was very valuable. And people who want to know more can actually directly connect with the Lakshmi. The coordinates are there in the chat box. Okay. Thank you all for participating, and see you all last Saturday of this month. We have another session, Healthcare Insights, and we're going to talk about, expert is going to talk about diabetes reversal.
Oh, and that's wonderful.
Yes, he'll be there. So see you all, and please check out our Facebook page for more details about these webinars. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and have a lovely evening, all of you. Thank you, Lakshmi.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Meghu, and thank you all of you, my dear friends.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.